Leo rising, this is your 2023 astrological outlook. And what a interesting year 2023 will be for you indeed. So let's get started. And first, we're going to look at the planet of Mercury. And Mercury, Leo rising, is all about communications. It is connected with Gemini and the third house. And to start off the year, Mercury will be retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in your natal sixth house of work. So, as we come into the first 18 days of January, you may feel, especially with that backwards motion with the communicator Mercury, you may feel that some of your communications regarding your work or those that you do business with have been a little bit shaky or shady. And so you want to make sure that you are very clear about all forms of everything and anything connected with your work or your business. It might be a frustrating time right now, especially regarding health or wellness matters. Also, it is a good time to communicate to especially the people that you work with, Leo rising, that you are on their level, that you want to have that camaraderie with them. Why? Because we also have the power planet Pluto there. And it is going to be now in its later degrees of Capricorn and then enter the sign of Aquarius. But we'll get into that a little later. However, with Mercury, the communicator, with your sixth house, you want to make sure, very sure, that you are not going to try to be the bigger boss, or you want to exert a certain amount of power. So, this is the time for you with Mercury, especially retrograde, to really be in a very harmonious and cooperative way. Then we've got, which is really important for you too, this year, uh, Leo arising, we've got Mercury in the sign of Aries. And why is this important for you in 2023? Because it's at the top of your chart and in your natal birth chart, you may have Aries on the midheaven. So on March 19th, Mercury, the communicator, enters the sign of Aries until April 3rd. And Aries Mercury, it's all about going after what you want. However, with the ninth house, however, even with your midheaven at the top of your chart, it's all about really communicating what you believe, your opinions. But Aries doesn't hold back, Leo rising, which you can relate to because you're a fellow fire sign. And you must have to be careful about being too overly expressive because the ninth house is about our opinions, it's about our beliefs. However, with that Aries fire, you can relate to that now, Leo rising, because you're both fire signs and you're both go-getters. And to some degree, you are both leaders. So right now, you are taking the lead, Leo rising, in your career aims and your goals. And it's a kind of a combination with the ninth house there. So you're going to be really traveling, possibly with your job or your career. And you might be speaking all kinds of languages and studying. Maybe you're thinking about going back to school. But now it will have to be connected with your career aims and goals. And boy, you're really going to broadcast to everyone just how ambitious you are, Aries, with Aries, Mercury, Leo rising. And to add to all this goodness now, Leo rising, you've got Aries Mercury with Jupiter, generous Jupiter there this year up until May of 2023. Jupiter will be in the gregarious sign of Aries because, like Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, it's very broad minded, very generous. And oh boy, with Mercury there during that time frame between March 19th to April 3rd, you're going to be really opening up and broadening your horizons. This is to add to the Mercury connection. The best time for study. You're going to be learning so much. And the really cool thing is maybe you're going to be meeting and connecting with people from all kinds of cultures and backgrounds. And you will be really mind expanding all your interests connected with everyone and anyone. And this is also good because why? Jupiter brings whatever house it's in money and prosperity to you. So right now with Jupiter connected with Mercury and your career and the ninth house, you might be looking into a career in education, or somehow your education or your study, even on the job, may be creating more material prosperity for you in the long run, Leo rising. Then we've got Mercury, the communicator, in Taurus at the top of your chart, and possibly with your birth chart, midheaven in Taurus. And this is all about your ambitions. And Mercury, the communicator, will be in Taurus from April 3rd. It will be in Taurus. Then it will go retrograde, flipping backwards on April 21st, and then until May 14th. And then June 11th, Mercury will go into the sign of Gemini. Whew, that's a long one for you now, Leo rising. But during the time of Mercury's transit, especially since it meets up with unexpected Uranus, and you know how that's been for the past many years during Uranus's transit in your 10th house, do expect unexpected communications with those in your job environment or your career, because there could be a little bit of that unexpected discord. Yes, indeed, Leo. And especially since there is a bit of a conflict going on between Leo and Taurus. So you want to communicate now what may be a little bit of your genius, because the good side with Mercury in Taurus with Uranus, the unusual and the unique, yes, with your 10th house, is that you can express to people your brilliance, your genius with regards to your creativity and your work. But with Mercury meeting up with Uranus there, it's also about different ideas regarding your career. Maybe you want a little bit more freedom and liberation on the job. Maybe you just want to work at home and do a remote job, or perhaps you want to travel, or you are thinking of maybe creating that invention that you've had on the back burner, or doing something very unique, kind of changing it up a little bit with that Uranus Mercury connection on your 10th house. Yes, indeed, right now you are ambitious, Leo rising, but you don't want to throw the weight around a little bit too much on the job with the boss. But hey, if you show how creative and how very original you are, Leo rising, on the job and with your career and work, you will have many people sit up and listen to you. Yes, indeed. And who knows, maybe you will get that position of authority now, Leo rising. Then we've got the planet of love. Yes, indeed, Venus. And Venus for you will also be very important in the sign of Aries as well. Again, there's that Aries connection. And then it will be in Aries on February 10th, or excuse me, February 20th until March the 16th. Yes, indeed. So between February 20th and March 16th, Venus sweetens the pot connected with your career, travel, and study. And again, meeting up with wonderful, gregarious Jupiter in your ninth house. So you are just going to be busy, busy traveling, yes, making those travel plans. Who knows? Maybe you might even think of having a career in travel now, Leo rising. And because it meets up so well with your rising sign, this is the time you're going to be meeting all kinds of new faces, places from different cultures, speaking different languages. And hey, because Jupiter's there now with sweet Venus, you are going to speak so sweetly, and people are just going to be magnetized by your words and your opinions. Then we've got Venus, oh, the sweet love planet, and the ruler of both Taurus, by the way, and Libra. Aries rising, we've got that in the sign of Taurus from March 16th till April 11th. Yes, indeed. Right during the time of spring. And now Venus is meeting up with Uranus. So who knows if you are an unattached Leo rising, who knows? Maybe you will meet somebody that is your future significant other with regards to business or work, or because Venus is connected with your midheaven, maybe you will be connecting up with some sweet speaking engagements. Or if it's connected with both the ninth and 10th house on the cusp, who knows? You might be traveling and meeting somebody at a distance right now, Leo rising, and you are going to be speaking so sweetly, and you are going to just suck up to the boss, and you are going to get all kinds of favors. Who knows, Leo rising? Maybe you're going to get that wonderful promotion or that big, sweet, unexpected, because it's with Uranus, salary raise right now. But nonetheless, this is a very unique Uranus and special time for you indeed. Oh, all kinds of sweetness with your 10th house and your career indeed. Then, of course, moving along, we've got Mars, the planet of action this year. Finally, Leo rising going direct, and it has spent many months in the sign of Gemini, and then it was at the latter part of 2022 retrograde. And so that really did a spin in your 11th house, Leo rising. Why? Because it's in the house of friends and acquaintances and your creativity and your dreams and goals. And so right now, you may have felt during the latter part of 2022 and now 2023 that maybe your dreams had to be put on the back burner, especially during the retrograde phase, Leo rising. But guess what? Now Mars is direct on January 12th, 2023, and it will remain there until March 25th. So for just a couple months, we will have Mars finishing up in the sign of Gemini. Thank goodness, because this has been a rather frustrating or confusing time connected with people that are your friends, or for that matter, people that you thought your friends, especially during the time that Mars made some square offs with Pisces, Neptune. But guess what now, Leo rising? Now that Mars is going to be going direct on January 12th, you and your friends and your best buds can communicate so much better. And guess what? You're going to find that you are going to be so busy with the internet, social media, and you name it. And who knows, maybe now with Mars there in your 11th house, you're going to be very busy and action oriented about making new friends this year or joining up with group efforts with friends or acquaintances, all kinds of people, because it's going to be so much in the way of communication with you, Leo rising, and you will just be so Gemini Mars, very sparkling and dazzling while you are communicating to all those friends, acquaintances, all kinds of people, you name it. But it's also about your humanitarian ideals. Yes, indeed. The 11th house is somewhat connected with charity, but it's all about where your sympathies lie. And right now, you might be signing some of those petitions, or who knows, you might become more active in local charities or online, and that will prove very rewarding for you, Leo rising. And additionally, who knows, maybe you're going to get into some group efforts about some creative project, and that will bring money to you and it will bring even more contacts your way. Yes, finish up Mars in Gemini in a good way right now, Leo rising. And then, of course, we'll have Mars on March 25th that will zip into the sign of Cancer. Yes, indeed. And once Mars goes into the sign of Cancer for you, then you're going to be taking some more time for downtime. Then we have, moving along here, Leo rising, we've got Jupiter, the gregarious, happy big planet Jupiter in Aries. Yes, indeed. We're back into your ninth house until May the 16th. So for about half of 2023. Then it will go into Taurus. Yes, and then retrograde September 5th until December 30th. But let's talk about generous Jupiter right now, Aries rising. So with Jupiter, yes, indeed, in Aries, in your ninth house. And again, once more, if Jupiter connects with your midheaven, you are going to be extra, extra ambitious and an extra, extra go-getter, Leo rising, because Jupiter in Aries loves to be with Leo. And Leo rising and Jupiter in Aries are both fire signs. So you're going to be very audacious and very expressive and, yes, fiery in your demeanor about what? Ninth house, expressing your opinions and points of view. Yes, indeed. And with generous, happy-go-lucky Jupiter in your ninth house, you may feel like nothing can go wrong, that everybody is in agreement with you, Leo rising. But you must be careful because it does square off with Pluto as yet again in 2023. So especially if Jupiter is with your midheaven, you don't want to just get too carried away with bossiness or being too conflicting, because that could, yes, interfere with your work or your business, Leo rising. But other than that, Jupiter is very good about expansion, and you're going to very much expand your life this year, Leo rising, with study. Maybe you're going to do some digging with some research, or maybe you're going to be traveling to many places, and these are also areas that may hold a career for you. Maybe you're looking into education. Maybe you're going to look into becoming a travel agent or connected with travel or surfing the internet and traveling. But whatever it is, you're really going to be broadcasting your knowledge with all kinds of faces, places, you name it. Generous Jupiter is going to be bringing money to you in these areas as well. Yes, indeed. Leo rising, and then moving along, we've got Saturn in the unexpected sign of Aquarius. Now, Saturn in Aquarius, Leo rising, during its reign there for the past 2.5 years, has probably been a little bit of a difficult place for you. Why? Because it's in the seventh house, and the seventh house is all about partnerships. It's about relationships of all kinds, also dealing with the public, legalities, and these have probably been an unexpected Aquarius concern for you. And yes, Aquarius Saturn will remain there until March 7th, and then it will head into the sign of Pisces. And then within the sign of Pisces, Saturn will go retrograde on June 7th until November 4th, when it will then go direct again. But while during the opening 2 months of 2023, Saturn is there, yes, there may be a little bit of some heavy weight with regards to relationships or legalities, dealing with the public, and you may still have to contend with this. But remember, whatever partnership issues that you work on right now, Leo rising, will be very positive later on, because Saturn is the planet of karma. And if you work on some of those relationship or even, yes, legal difficulties or ups and downs that you've had right now, in the future, everything will work out to your favor. So even though things seem a little bit, well, blocked right now, or there's been stumbling blocks with regards to relationships, partnerships, the public eye, even legal issues, guess what? You work real hard on them, and then you may receive a wonderful bonus later on with all forms of legalities, partnerships, and you will see, once Saturn moves along until to Pisces, then you will reap the wonderful rewards and benefits of Saturn's hard work, conscientiousness, and responsibility. Yes, you will, Leo rising. It's always going to be a positive at the end of the day. Then we've got Saturn. Yes, that disciplined planet of responsibility and hard work, zipping into Saturn in Pisces during 2023. And do refer to my Saturn in Pisces video. But Saturn in Pisces can be one connected with our fears and that which we have to look to face up to. Yes, Saturn in Pisces. But with now Saturn in your eighth house, Saturn with the eighth house is all about depth, because that is the house of Scorpio. But right now you might be taking seriously Saturn, that which deals with wills or trusts. Maybe you will come into some kind of a trust or an estate of some kind, Leo rising, or you will have to oversee such. Also, this is a time you're going to take very seriously, going within and doing some inward soul searching. And who knows, maybe that meditation or yoga or some of your deeply held spiritual beliefs will help you to do some of that soul searching right now. But with this Saturn in Pisces there, it's also very emotional, because Saturn in Pisces is in a water sign now. So you are going to feel very moved by all kinds of sympathies, and you will be called on to help and aid other people now during this time, Leo rising. But nonetheless, on the lighter side, who knows? Maybe this is a time you may do some investing or take out that mortgage or loan that you've always been looking forward to help you out in some fashion. But nonetheless, with Saturn in the eighth house, this is going to be all about resources that you will take, yes, a Leo rising, very seriously. Then we've got Uranus, yes, in Taurus, and that will be direct finally on January 2nd, 2000, that's January 22nd, 2023. And then Uranus will flip back retrograde again in Taurus on August 28th for the remainder of the year. So you know all about Uranus and in Taurus and in your 10th house, Leo rising. Yes, indeed. Especially since there's been a square off with your rising sign. So as of late, there's been a lot of ups and downs and unpredictability in your career. Maybe you've had to change jobs. Maybe you're changing careers, or maybe there's been a lot of energy that's come to you that's been very uncertain and very unpredictable now. Maybe you're thinking that maybe you're doing the wrong type of career and you just want to very quickly, unexpectedly just change it all up and just do some things that are completely different. And guess what, Leo rising? This year will be no different while Uranus remains in the sign of Taurus. Maybe you are going to be looking into that invention now that you really thought didn't have any potential. And now you're finding you may be able to make money with that. Or you may decide that you want to change up your style or your image because it is connected with your midheaven and you want to be very daring and you want to add new air into your ambitions and you want to become very creative because Uranus, because it is connected with both Taurus, which represents beauty, and Aquarius, which is very unusual and very unique, now you want to appeal to people closest to you, even those involved with your career, in a very genius and unique creative style. So this is actually very good for Uranus in your 10th house because it is allowing you the freedom that you've always been looking for. Who knows? Maybe right now, Leo, you want to develop a career that gives you freedom. Maybe you want to travel, or maybe you just want to check into work when you feel like it. But nonetheless, there's this sense of liberation. And yes, this year with your career, Leo rising 2023 will not be any exception. Then we move along to Neptune. Yes, indeed, the confuser, a bit of a deceiver. And that for you, Leo rising, has been remaining in your 8th house of depth. So with Neptune there, it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's very sweet and you have a lot of depth and maybe some internal healing that you've been doing as of late during Neptune's reign in Pisces. But guess what? It's going to remain in your 8th house during 2023. So you're going to still go within and heal. And this is a good time to express your heartfelt love and sensitivity to your sweetheart. It's the planet of Pisces in the house of intimacy. So maybe you can be very creative, you will find, connected with intimacy and your imagination with all your creative endeavors. It's a very deep placement also for Neptune because it's all about healing. But do be careful because the downside of Neptune, which you may have already discovered, Leo rising, is one of deception. Make sure that all your dealings, especially if you held joint resources now or connections with money and so on, are going to be very clear. And with Neptune there, yes, as with Saturn, it can be a time, Leo rising, of beginnings and endings. But with Pisces there, you can assure that with any beginnings and endings now, that there will be a certain healing and a relief. And by the way, Pisces, Neptune is indeed very psychic. Watch closely those dreams and psychic hunches, Leo rising. Then we've got Pluto, the power planet. Yes, indeed. And we're going to flip back to your sixth house of work. And as stated earlier, you're going to have to be very concise and very kind of harmonious and cooperative with those you work with. Because with Pluto there, you may have noticed over the many years that Pluto has been in your sixth house, Leo rising, that you've probably had some ups and downs with your job, your career, maybe some misunderstanding with those that you work with, or for you, health and wellness has been a bit of an issue that you've had to overcome. And yes, that theme will remain this year in 2023, Leo rising. So this year, you want to turn up the volume with your determination with Pluto there, because this year, that's what it's going to be about. You're going to be very strongly, Pluto, very much focused on your health, your wellness, really getting it together about how you feel. And with Pluto there, this year is going to be the year that you're going to want to really make things tick with your work and your career. Just don't overtax your nerves or overstress yourself now, Leo rising, with your sixth house. And who knows, maybe you might get that very special family pet. But do, yes, make sure there is much in the way of cooperation, balance, and harmony with all business and work affairs. Finally, Leo rising, we are moving to the eclipses, four of them for 2023. And the first solar eclipse, new moon, we have is in Aries, and it is in your ninth house, Leo rising, and it is at 29 degrees of Aries. And this is going to shine a light with this solar eclipse and new moon in your ninth house of speech and study, long distance travel. And with this highlight there in your ninth house, who knows, Leo rising, you might be taking that very life memorable trip, or maybe you're going to be just traveling in general more than you normally do. And who knows, maybe that includes just traveling and surfing the internet much more than normal, because it's all about communications. And who knows, you're going to expand your mind this year, Leo rising, with study, with research, but it's all about your beliefs. Maybe some of your beliefs will change this year like never before. Or maybe you're going to be called upon to express your thoughts and that of what is connected with your knowledge. But anything you do this year, you're going to be meeting new places, new faces, having fun, and yes, this is going to be a highlight and very important with this ninth house and career connections. Who knows, Leo rising, maybe you'll think about getting into a career in education or travel, or even that which is connected with research. But you can guarantee, Leo rising, whatever you do with this highlight of this solar eclipse and new moon will be very mind expanding for you indeed. Then we've got a lunar eclipse. Yes, indeed. Leo rising in the sign of Scorpio, and that will be on May 5th at 14 degrees of Scorpio in your fourth house. So this is a time with that lunar eclipse and the full moon, Leo rising, to be very cautious of some family conflicts, yes, some possible discord. And with the lunar eclipse and full moon, you will be closing the book on some type of family matter right now, something of a long-standing disagreement, possibly. Also, the fourth house is connected with what? Our physical home. And so you may have to, at last moment's notice, do some repairs or renovations on your home. But with Scorpio in the fourth house, Scorpio is all about change and transformation. So even if things seem a little bit upsetting now with family or home matters, well, guess what? Scorpio in the long run is all about change. So who knows? Maybe that disagreement or discomfort with a family member is all about getting the two of you closer. And in the long run, you will have a better relationship. Or by repairing and doing renovations now on your home that will beautify your home. And who knows, you may want to turn around and sell that home. Or at the very least, you won't have to worry about those repairs again. But do be careful connected with anything connected with contracts or real estate. Just be very cautious, and this time with the lunar eclipse and full moon in Scorpio will be just fine. And then we've got the solar eclipse shining a light for you in your third house, Leo rising, and that will be on October 14th at 21 degrees of Libra. Yes, this solar eclipse and this new moon will shine a light on all your communications. You're going to be feeling especially very chatty and communicative right now, Leo rising, and especially since that is in a good way with your Leo rising. And right now, you might be thinking of starting new moon, that book that you've been putting aside for so many years. Or maybe you're going to be called upon to speak to others about your wise Leo words of wisdom. And also, the third house is not just about getting to know your neighbors or getting around the town locally, but who knows, maybe you're getting that long awaited vehicle or doing repairs on that car truck that you've been putting on the back burner. But however things go right now, it's all about communication plus for you, Leo rising. Then finally, we have the final lunar eclipse of 2023, which will be on October the 28th at 5 degrees Taurus. Back up in your career zone, Leo rising. However, with a lunar eclipse and a full moon there, yes, you will have to be wary and leery of communications with the boss or people that you work with, because this can kind of shake things up in your career zone a little bit, Leo rising. And especially since Uranus is connecting up with the lunar eclipse and full moon. So there may be some unexpected upsetments there, connected with people that you work with or connected with your work. That could also be travel with your work, and it could also be connected with your speech. So you don't want to be too rebellious now with your career, Leo rising. However, there is a good side to this, and it is with Uranus. So Uranus is all about liberation, it's about freedom, and right now you want to put a close to anything that you feel stifled with, Leo rising, in your career. This is the time to close the book on a job or a career that you feel has not been, well, in any way of what has made you happy, and you want to find a job that is more creative, more unique in your expression. And now, with you making those changes, you will find in the long run you are much happier, Leo rising. So, to finalize, Leo rising. This is going to be a year of change and new air for you, Leo rising, indeed, especially with the connection, very much so, in 2023 with the ninth house and travel. You are going to expand your mind greatly, whether it's research, whether it's going back to school, or having a career in research, or going back to school, or even travel. You're going to be taking some very memorable trips this year for sure. But at the very least, you're going to feel like you have to express what you really feel and what you really believe. And that for you, Aries, for with the Aries connection, Leo rising, is indeed going to be very rewarding for you. Then you also, with Uranus still traveling through the 10th house, still have that career 10th house connection. This is a time for change. Even if things seem a little bit up and down and there are sudden mishaps with regards to your job, work, and career, Leo rising, look ahead and know that this is for the better. Change is always going to be good. Maybe you've got to get away from that very boring career or job, or really do something that makes you happy. And you're going to be very inventive and creative in the process. So at the end of the day, even the 10th house emphasis, with all its change and up and downs with 2023, will end up being positive. With the 8th house connection with Neptune, it's all about depth and healing. Just be careful of your resources and getting into any loans or anything dealing with your finances. But it's a good time to also do some going within and looking into that which gives you satisfaction and peace of mind. Overall, it's about communications, and communications this year for you of all type, family, work, love, you name it, are all at the end of the day going to be very positive for you. Yes, indeed, Leo rising, and very good luck and a happy 2023 for you, Leo rising.